Hello! In this video, we're going to do a more condensed version of the Microsoft Word tutorial video. If you've not checked that video out and you're new to Microsoft Word, I definitely recommend just having a quick glance through it. All of the parts in that video are chaptered off, so you can skip through to an appropriate part that you're looking at. This video, however, is just looking at some of the more important things to note when you're managing a longer Word document. To get started, first of all, you can have your own Word document, so you can follow along in this video. But if you're looking for something that's pre-made, or you're looking for some more text-based alternatives, as well as a tutorial that's text-based as well, you can head over to our LibGuides webpage, and scrolling down on the main page here, select the Academic Study Skills page. On here, when you scroll down, you'll see there's types of assignments. Selecting this will take you through to a really useful resource about different assignment types. On here, if you navigate down to Report and select Reports in Microsoft Word, everything that I'll cover today is also on this page too. Scrolling down to the bottom, you will see that this video is linked here, as well as you will see there are Word documents that you can select and download, which will provide both a resource as well as instructions on how to do everything I do in this video today. To get started, we're going to look at heading styles. Heading styles are really important. Not only does it help break up content, it helps identify different headings, whether that is for a table, whether that's for certain parts of your document. And it's really important to do, not only because it makes navigating the document more easy, but it also enables you to create a table of contents to flick through different forms of content. Now, what you can have on your document is you might have created some placeholder text, whether that is for titles and things of the sort. Generally, what we tend to see people do is select a piece of text like this, so what's in this guide. It's not set up as a heading. All I've done here is in the top you can see I've set it to bold, italic, and also slightly increased the font just a little bit bigger than what my base font is. Now, yes, while this does look visually right, on the technical side of things, it is set up incorrect. So if I was to use something like my navigational pane, so on my keyboard, I'm going to hit the Control and F key at the same time, and you'll see my navigation pane opens up here. If I select into headings, it's not been included in my sections on the left-hand side, including the drop down in the different sections as well. So to do this, I'll use this section 1 just because it's already set up and it's relatively easy to do from the get-go. So what you'll do is, first of all, you'll section off the piece of your document that you want to create as a heading. So I've put this on its own line, I've typed it out, and what I'll do is, instead of pressing bold, instead of underlining it or changing the font or anything, at the top of my Word document, you'll see there is a ribbon called Home, and in that ribbon, there's a section called Styles. If I navigate up to Styles, you will see it says Heading, no spacing, and if I use this arrow, it gives me a drop down just to select different things. Now these, you can imagine, are, I would say, different levels of how you want things to be organized, okay? So think of this as heading 1, for example, is going to be level 1. It's where, if you were to load up a table of contents, it's the overall section of that document. So by extension, if you were to go into heading 2, that is breaking up that section 1 into different sections. Heading 3 will be breaking that heading 2 into different sections, and so on and so forth. So a great thing to do, and we'll do it in this example just so it's a little bit clearer, is section 1 is going to be the overarching section for what I've called the idea. So all I need to do is select the text like I've done, and then select heading 1, and this will automatically update it into a heading for me. So on that sense, the Word document has been told this is a heading, break it up into the section 1. This is going to be that level 1 idea, okay? Now what I can do from here is I can section this into different things as well. So let's say I'm scrolling down section 1 here, and we're going to ignore this first paragraph. But as you can see here, I've got a section called the name, which is in that idea section, okay? Now, I don't want this to be on the same level as section 1 because it's part of that first heading. So instead, I'm going to use the drop down and I'm going to select heading 2. And as you can see, it updates the font straight away and it does create that section within that heading 1. So we've got heading 2 now. Let me visualize this for you. If I was to open my navigation pane again, so I can press Control F, or I can go into View, and on here you'll see there is Navigation Pane. You can now see that in section 1 we have the idea, which is heading 1, and then inside we have heading 2, which is the name. So it's automatically updated that on Word for it. You can see I've got some different ones as well. So section 2, the format, is a heading 1. And inside there, we have 2 different heading 2s just to break down those sections as well. So we can navigate through the document with relative ease. Now, that is very quickly how to set up a heading. However, for your document, first of all, you might think this looks a little bit ugly. I don't like the color. I want it to stand out a little bit more. But also in your brief, it might ask you to use a certain font and a certain color as well. Now, a very nice thing to do if you've used the styles is you can change all of your headings in one go. Okay. Now, bearing in mind, you will have to update them dependent on the heading. And what I mean by this is anything that I change in heading 1 will only apply to heading 1. And the same goes for heading 2, 3, and so on. So we don't need to select the text and we don't need to press anything in the font. To update them, simply head over to the Styles tab. You can press the drop down and all you do here is you can right click with your mouse and you'll see it opens up this additional panel here. What we do from here is we press modify and it will bring up sort of this modifying window. And what this enables us to do is change the different font type, the colors, if you want it in bold, and it will apply them to all of the different pieces of text that have been highlighted as heading 1. So, generally speaking, this is my recommendations for people who are wanting to create a relatively decent, formatted, and a visually appealing style, is first of all to use the drop down in formattings and select Arial. It's an easy to read font. It is recommended, so definitely use Arial. From here, I would recommend personally, although it changes from person, you want your biggest section, so this will be heading 1, to be either 18 or 16 size in font just to differentiate it between the rest of your headings. And then you'll want to use a color that is appropriate for your usage. By default, you can see Word uses blue, but you can use something like black, so you can make it standard. But you can also use a different color as well. I'm going to keep mine to blue just because I'm a little bit basic and I'm just using this as what it comes out of the tin for Word. But additionally, one thing to also consider is making it bold, and you can also potentially make it italic just to really make sure that heading pops. Okay. I would leave it like that for my headings. However, you might be running for a certain visual style. So additional things that you can do is change the alignment. So you can press this section here and you'll see it's not updated on here, but it tells you down at the bottom where that text will move to. Generally, I have mine left aligned. You might want it centrally aligned or right aligned if you're going for a certain preference. Additionally, if you're wanting to do something similar to aligning, but you're not wanting it all the way in the middle or all the way to the right, you're just wanting to offset it a little bit, you can do indentations as well. So just here, you'll see there's an indentation mark. You can just press that, and the more you press it, the more it will indent one way. You'll see in the bottom box again, that has just been updated. So now we have the indent along with the distance it's been indented by. So you can apply that. Anything you do can be changed on here. So if I was to show you this now, so we're going to look at this section 1 where my mouse cursor is, and I'll press OK. You'll see that it's applied that effect straight away. It's made it bold and added an indentation. Maybe I think that indentation's too much. What I can do is simply head back to the heading, select modify, and then just either change the indentation or remove it and just hit OK, and it will update straight away. Me personally, I don't want the indentation there, so I'm going to remove it. But feel free to come in and have a look at some of these other settings as well. There's lots of different things that you can do. You can highlight things, change the color of the font, but this is generally what I would do. Now, one thing I will say is that if we scroll down on this page now, you will see that this has updated my other sections that come in heading 1s as well. And this can apply to all of the different headings as well. So let's say we were going to update this heading 2. So as you remember earlier, I updated the name. All I'll do is right click on heading 2, select modify. And as you remember on this one, I said it should, in heading 1, it should either be 18 or 16. This one, I would recommend a smaller size. Either if you chose 18 for your heading 1, choose 16. Or if you choose 16 for your heading 1, choose 14. And again, I'm going to change my font to Arial, and then I can either apply that to be bold or italic, depending on what style I'm going for and the information I'm trying to convey. I can update the color just as I could before, and then hit OK, and you'll see that updates from there. Now, what you can do as well, this does apply to normal font as well. So as you can see in this Styles tab, we have something called Normal. And this is just when you are normally typing. So say if I wanted to add a section here, if I hit enter on my keyboard, this is where I could type in something and it will automatically transfer to that normal style. So this is great for main bodies of text, but let's say you've wrote an entire document and you've listened to what I've just said and you're thinking Arial's pretty good, but you don't want to come through and select all of the different lines of text. Just like we did for the headings, you can select right click, move down to modify, and update it just as we did there. I'm going to update all of mine to Arial. I will keep it between 12 and 14 font. I'm going to stick with 12 just because the font for me is readable. And then I'm going to change my color so it's automatically black. Hit OK, and that will just update all of my text from there. Now there are some other things that you can do as well. You can add spacing. So if we go back to modify here, you might think that there's not enough space in between these different lines here, and that is something that we can change. So to change this spacing, we'll navigate back to the Modify tab, and right at the bottom you'll see this Format button here. If I select this Format button, it gives me a lot of different options for things that I can do. For now, I'm going to select Paragraph just so I can add a little bit of spacing. And from here, what you'll see is there's this spacing section when this paragraph window opens up. There's a lot of different things you can do. I would recommend playing around, see what works for you. I will just add a little bit of spacing on here so you can see what this does. So I've added some spacing, 6 points to both before and after. And if I press OK and then OK again, as you can see, it's created this space in between my paragraphs. So it just spaces those out a little bit more as well. Again, just like headings, we can come in, go back to format, go all the way down to paragraph. We can remove them if it's something we don't like. And we can add different things depending on what we're looking for as well. So I'm going to remove that just because I didn't like that style. But as you can see, everything's updated now. So we're looking all good. As a result of adding headings to our different sections and using the Styles tab, it enables us to create a really easy table of contents to our document. So what I recommend doing is, truthfully, as you're working in your document, adding these different heading styles in and updating the document as you go. If you've not done them yet, now's the perfect time. It's never too late. And go through and add all of those headings to your different documents, okay? When you're coming towards the ending of your project, whether that is a dissertation or an essay, think about adding your table of contents at this stage, just so you don't have to keep coming back to refresh it. I'll show you how to update it if you do end up adding more or removing content, so it's not an issue either way. But I would personally recommend adding a table of content a little bit later down the line, okay? So on my document, I've added all my sections in. I'm happy with what I want. So what we'll do now is we'll head over to a section in our document where we want to add a table of contents. Now this will be different for different types of document. As you can see, mine's more of a blog. So what I've done here is I've got a little bit of an introduction, and for me, I want my table of contents to fit in between the introduction and section 1, okay? You might want your table of contents right at the start. Maybe you've got a title page, and they both work the same way. The first thing I would recommend doing is if you move your cursor in between the two sections where you want your table of contents, what you can do here is we're going to create a new page first, okay? And we'll come into this in a little bit later on as well, but it's just a very helpful thing. So instead of hitting enter to create sort of these paragraph spaces, instead what we can do is just create a new page straight away. And to do this, we'll head to the insert ribbon just at the top. And then from here, we will select page break or blank page. I'm going to press page break just because it ends the current page here and moves everything to the next section. Sometimes when you use a blank page, it will just add a page and you will have to reorganize some stuff. Break pages make it so clean, you don't have to do any reorganization. So you'll see what I mean when I press page break. You can see it's just moved that section across. I have had to do a tiny bit of reformatting on this document, but as you can see, it split that over relatively easy, okay? So now that I've got that space on this page, what I'm going to do is head over to where I want that table of contents. I don't want it on the same line as this section. I do want it on its own. So I'll space it out by 2 paragraphs. So I'll hit enter twice. And from here, what we'll do is we'll head over to the referencing tab just along the top. And you'll see on the very left here, we have table of contents. Okay. If you've not got a table of contents already, what you do is you select the drop down, and it will give you some automatic table of contents to add into a document. Now, you can pick whichever one you want. You can either have it called contents or table of contents. For this example, I'm going to use the automatic table 2, which is labeled table of contents, just so you know what I'm talking about. But feel free to choose whichever one suits the document you're working for. I'll select it, and because I've done all of my headings already, it will just create that table of contents automatically for me. And you'll see everything that was in that navigational page is now on that document. Okay. All relatively easy to do with a couple of clicks. If I was to add pages and add sections, it doesn't automatically update. What you can do is head to references and press update table, and it will update it. If you are coming with any issues with using that, head back to where you place your table of contents. If you left click in the box, don't type anything into it. All you need to do is press update table. That will refresh. It will automatically give the correct page numbers, and it will just sync all of that together really nicely. Table of contents allows you to really easily navigate through a document as long as you've broken up into the appropriate things. By default, it doesn't allow you to click through, but if you hover your mouse over, you'll be given some instructions to press through to different pages. For me, this is set up to press Control and left click at the same time. So I'll hold Control down, and let's say I wanted to go to section 2. I'll just hold Control, left click, and it will take me straight to that section from there. Now, you don't need to use the table of contents for editing. As I mentioned earlier, you can use the navigation pane, and I'll very briefly cover what the navigation pane is. It essentially, first of all, enables you to see the different sections of your document as long as you've created headings, but it also allows you to search for certain words or certain phrases as well. So it can be very helpful if you're trying to remove different notes. As I mentioned earlier, you can hold Control and press F to open your navigation pane. But you can also head to the View ribbon, select Navigation Pane from the Show option, and it will open on the left-hand side. From here, you've got some different sections you can go on to. Headings will show you, first of all, your headings. You might be looking for pages, so here you can see the different pages I've got set up. But you can also use the search bar to search for certain words. If you refer back to the note-taking video that should be linked in this playlist, I have a note that uses little stars. So if I type in a star and hit enter, it will immediately take me to every time one of these stars have been used. Okay, so if I use the results on that navigation pane, you'll see that appears just on the left hand side. So it's really good just for scouting certain words, certain phrases. Maybe you're looking for a certain reference you've included and you just want to make sure it's in your reference list. That's how I would use the navigation pane. The next thing we will look at is adding a list of figures or a list of tables. So these are, as the name implies, if you've added any diagrams, any images, these are things that you'll add. And then you'll add them underneath your table of contents so users can quickly navigate through content. So in this section here, I'm going to add this image of a microphone. And to enable this list of either figures or tables, they both work in the same way, is first of all, you need to make sure that you're captioning it. So what you do is just select the image or the table, you'll right click, and on here, you'll see it says insert caption. Now on here, you will type in what that figure or table represents. So this one for me is a microphone or with a pair of headphones. And then you get to choose the label which this assigns to. If I was adding a graph or a table or something like that, I'd select the label and I'll change that to table. I'm going to use figure just because it's for images. And all you do once you've typed that out is press OK, and that will automatically add that figure to that image from there. Okay, so that's all you need to do. And that will be the same for both of those. Scrolling up then, similar to how we added the table of contents, I'll move my mouse cursor just so it's underneath table of contents, navigate over to references, and on here, instead of pressing table of contents, we'll move the mouse cursor all the way to the right. You'll see here, it says insert table of figures. I'll select that table of figures. You'll see here you get different things you can update. For me, I'm going to leave everything the same. I'll press OK, and that will just add that figure from there as well. Okay, now you might want to come in, you might want to add a title to this. So I will type in list of figures, and that will appear on there. And just like we were looking at earlier, you can navigate straight to those figures as well. You can also update these. So I'm going to add a small header to that. So I'll make that a heading 4 or a heading 3, depending on which one I've used in the past. And that will just update on there straight away. And do the exact same for things like lists of tables as well. Okay, moving over to the next section, which is changing the orientation of some pages. Typically, pages will be vertical in nature. You won't have them horizontal unless you're using something like a table, which needs that page rotation because it won't fit on otherwise. Maybe you've got some images that need to be updated as well. To do this, it can appear very daunting at first, but I assure you it's relatively easy to look at. What you'll need to do is create section breaks between the sections which you want those pages to be horizontal, so basically landscape. Okay, so to do this, first of all, what I recommend doing is, you can see we're in the home ribbon now, and you'll find this little icon here which is show all. This will show you all of the paragraphs. It will show you any of the hidden formatting symbols as well. Okay, so you'll select that. You see all of these different little icons pop up on here. It's just telling you how the document's formatted. Okay, so what we're going to want to do to change the different formats is, first of all, find a section where we want to have that landscape page. So let's say we were going to use the image we just added here. Okay, what we'll do is I'll select in between this image here, and what we'll do is we're going to insert a section break. This just breaks these sections down and it tells Word what I want in different areas. So to add a section break, so what I'll do first is put my indicator in the area where I would like to have this page landscape. So let's turn this image landscape. I'll put my cursor here. You'll see there is no section break, but we do have a page break, which is okay. We're going to head to the layout tab, and from here you'll see there's a button called breaks. We'll select the breaks button, and then from here you'll see there's different breaks that we can do. We're going to add a section break. So here we have a section break. I'm going to do next page just because I don't want everything else to become landscape. So I'll add a next page break here. You can see that's updated here. I don't want that on the same line. I've added this line here. So I'll just press enter to create a paragraph. You can see we have a section break there. And scrolling down, you can see this page is set up on here. I'm going to keep a page break. We only want a section break this bit here. But if you had, unlike me, if you were to roll this over and you didn't have another section or another heading and it was a continuous section, just come down and underneath here, just like we did, create a break and then do another page break for the things that you don't want landscape and you want those to remain portrait, okay? From here, what you'll see is I have a page break. I don't want this page break here, so I'm going to remove it. Instead, what I'll do is I will select back underneath this image, select breaks, add a next page section break on here. So you'll see that updates my section 3. I'm going to just move this very slightly. So as you can see, we have section break on this section, section break here. Select inside your selection break, so where you can see that text, select orientation, select landscape, and that will update that page to become landscape then. You can then make that image bigger, same with the graph, or smaller. What might happen if you make an image too big, that section break comes down into another page and creates this blank page. So just slightly change that image so that section break comes back on this page then. And from here, you can see we have that landscape page. If you're wanting to check if this has worked, if we head back to the navigational pane again and remove anything you might have in the search bar, select pages, it will show you the formatting of your different pages. So from here, you can see that I have 4 portrait, then a landscape, and the rest are all portraits. So I know that's worked. Then I can head back to home. Select that show all button again. It will remove that page break and just return back to my normal Word document from there. But you can see the landscapes remained in, so I'm very happy about that. One thing that you might want to do is enable page numbering. Page numbering can be very helpful just to navigate through a document. It will also align with your table of contents as well. So to do this, you'll see I'm on my home document here. I'm going to navigate up to the insert ribbon, and along here you will see towards the middle there's a section for page numbers. Simply select page numbers and you can align where you want that page number to sit. I like mine in the bottom, so I'll hover over bottom and it'll give me some different areas I can place that page number. I like this accent bar, so you'll see it says accent bar 2. It has the page number. If I select that, it'll automatically update my document and show the page number from here. So you'll see section 1 as page number 1, and that will update. And as you can see, that aligns very nicely with what my table of contents has. However, you might not want to have your first page, or maybe even a couple of pages down the line, you might not want to have them numbered. You might have, for example, a title page, which obviously does not need to be numbered. You might have, for another reason, you might not want them numbered. So how do we change this instead? Well, the first thing you can do, and it makes it really easy if you're just changing the title page, is if you head over and select inside this header and footer again, it will add another ribbon at the top here. And all you do then is in the middle, you'll see there's this icon for different first page. So if you are just using, that title page, selecting this box will update that automatically. It will remove that header and then it will show page. It will remove that from page 1 and it'll update that from there. Okay. But let's say you're not wanting this to be page 2. You want it to page 1. How do we fix that? Okay. Very good question. What you'll do first is head back to that header or footer. You'll head to the left where it says page number, move down to format page numbers, and from here you'll be able to update that instead. So this works only for page 2. You can't use this for the other if you were to introduce page numbers further down. But what you can do is select Start At, and we're going to use a very easy trick, and we're going to basically say the title page is page 0. So this will still count as 1, so we'll set that to 0, and this will then go 0, page 1, page 2. So we'll press OK, and as you can see, our page 2 is now identified as page 1, which is really helpful. Then you can come into your table of contents, update entire table or page numbers only, and that will automatically update that table of contents for you from there. Okay, very easy to set up. But what happens if you want to start your numbers further down the line? So let's say instead of starting in what I've called the idea section, we actually want to start our page numbers all the way down in section 2 or section 3. Well, we can do that. First of all, remember how we did the page break for orientating our pages? We're going to do the exact same. I'm going to turn on the show all again, but you don't have to. I'm going to remove what pops up as page break. So this does move my format section back up. And we're going to go back into layout, breaks, next page, and you'll see that adds a section break from there then. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is navigate back to my home tab. I'm going to press show all. I don't want to see those anymore. And as you can see here, very good that my Word's done this. It didn't used to. You'll see for this first section, you'll see first page footer, and you'll see it's now labeled section 1, where the section break we added has split into section 2. This just enables us really easily to update those pages, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is actually go over back into insert, and I'm going to remove those page numbers so they're not there. And if you scroll down to where it says section 2, after we've added that break section, you'll see it's labeled as same as previous. What this means is it's using anything that's been used before. So in this instance, it's going to be using whatever's in section 1. So if we have a page number here, it will just automatically link to that. It can be very helpful. In our case though, we want to start our page numbers down here instead. So what we're going to do first is double press into your footer so you can see these options, and you're going to press page number. You're going to add your page numbers in. So I'll use accent bar again, but this time, when we're in header and footer, you'll see navigation, and from here, you'll see link to previous. We don't want the page numbers up here, so what we'll do instead is press this button so it no longer links to previous, and it should just link with what we're working on instead. Now you can see that this is now titled page 0, which is incorrect. That's not what we wanted. If you remember back to last step, we did do that little trick, which tricked it into thinking page 2 was page 1. Obviously now we need to go ahead and update that because that's incorrect. So first of all, we're going to untick different from first page, just because, you know, it's no longer different than first page. We're going to then come into here, page numbers. We're going to first of all make sure the page numbers are still set up the way we want them to be set up. Then head over to page number, scroll down to format page numbers. And instead of starting at 0, we're going to want to start at 1 because we've not got a title page here, and you'll see that updates from there. Because it's no longer using same as previous, mine's only popped up because I did it a little bit wrong earlier. So let me just remove this page number now. If we scroll down, you'll see those page numbers start in section 2. Section 1 no longer has those page numbers, which is exactly what we wanted. If we scroll down, and let's say we have section 3 here, so you can see we've got a different section. It's using the same as previous, so the same logic applies. It's looking at the section that was linked beforehand, which is section 2, which is page numbers, so it's following on from that, so that's great. We'll just double check to make sure section 4 is the same, and it is. So that is great. It's added those page numbers straight on for us. When we go back up, we now need to update our table of contents, so I'll press close footer and header. We'll head over to table of contents. From here, we'll press update table. You can update entire table or just page numbers. Press OK, and you'll see that updates from there. Now, because technically this has the headings on. It's not set up like a title. It's going to automatically assume that this is page 1. Okay. Unfortunately, that is an issue. However, as we remembered earlier, we can set this up so this is a section as well. So let's now recap that, just so we are really aware of how to set up page numbers. So we're going to make section 1 into the section we want to start our page numbers on. Okay. So first of all, we're going to move over and remove this page break. This adds section 1 back to this first page. Obviously, we don't want that. So we're going to press layout, head over to breaks, then go to section break, new page. You'll see that updates. We have a section break here with section 1 that appears here. Okay, great stuff. That's exactly what we wanted to see. We're then going to navigate to the home ribbon, select show all just because we don't want all of those icons appearing. Then we'll navigate to insert. Then we can select page number. I'm going to quickly check my format. I don't want this starting at 0. I'm going to want it starting at 1. I'll press OK. And then we'll go back to insert page number. Select the page number type that you want. I'll go with accent bar 2. You'll see that updates from there. Now, for some reason, Word has not liked that. So let's just go through some of the technical issues that we can resolve straight away. First of all, we know we don't want a section here. We know we want to start our pages here. So first of all, press in the page where you want the page numbers to start. Remove that link from previous just so that updates on its own. We then need to untick different from first page because obviously it needs to be different from first page. We're going to remove the page number from this page and we're going to relink that page number from here. For some reason, Word likes to be a bit finicky at times, which is totally fine. We've identified it, so let's add that page number back on there. Okay, great. Not so great, we're still stuck at page 1 and the other pages haven't updated. So what has happened here? Well, first of all, we're going to go into page number, check the format. For some reason, it started back at 1, which is, we don't want that. We're going to press 1, that updates to 1 straight away. Great stuff. Navigating down, what's with the rest of these? Why are they not working? Well, that might simply be because I was playing around with my document earlier, but additionally, it can also be because the navigation pane is not synced to link to previous, which is not. So what we'll do is we'll select this link to previous. Do you want to delete this header or footer? We'll press yes, and as you can see, it updates from there. However, it's still wrong. What's going on? Good question. We're going to press format page number, format page numbers again. And as you can see, we have this page numbering. It started at 1. We don't want it to start at 1. We want to continue from previous section. So we'll press that, press OK. Page numbers have now fixed themselves. So here we can see page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4 is all fixed. Lovely. Last thing to do if you have done this is update your table of contents. So again, press inside the table of contents, press update. You can update just the page numbers or entire table. I recommend the entire table just in case you've moved around one of your headings. You'll see it automatically updates, which is lovely. You'll want to do the same for things like lists of figures as well. Head over to the list of figures, either remove it and then update it again. And that will automatically sort those page numbers out for you. Now this covers everything inside managing a longer Word document. If you want a more detailed breakdown of Microsoft Word, like I said at the start, we really recommend you checking out the Microsoft Word video that we have. While it is a longer video than this one, it will go over a lot of different features of Word, which can be very helpful if you're just starting out.